a couple things that might be helpful to just explain more with the grant that's been made so far, or not the grant that's been made, the proposal that's been made so far for the Optimism Fractal, because there's multiple things that we're aiming to provide in this grant. I encourage everybody to read it, and that'd probably be helpful. I spent a lot of time writing this, and it's quite a comprehensive grant proposal. So it's both for the tools that are being built, and then it's also for the Optimism Fractal. And then I also think that Eden Fractal should start posting consensus results and collaborating more with Optimism as well. So there's like multiple different dimensions to it. There's building the tools. There's hosting the first season of Optimism Fractal and starting Optimism Fractal, as well as launching a brand and collaborating with the Optimism Fractal community. If you want to just like a high-level overview, the first couple of questions, how do you justify the size of this grant request? We kind of give like a high-level overview where part of it is building the tools and part of them is for education materials and hosting weekly events and providing support for the first season. And that explains a little bit about funding Eden Fractal as well, or the possibility of that. And then the next section about what are you going to build? This section talks about this in more detail, basically. It introduces Optimism Fractal. It says how it's inspired by Eden Fractal and Fractally. It also links to Alien Worlds Fractal and Art Fractal and Aquadeck and other communities who are cooperating with fractal processes throughout. It talks about how our development team, i.e. Violent Das, will build tools to facilitate consensus games. It'll be at the core Optimism Fractal, and talks about the first iterations. And then our marketing team, which is me and Rosemarie, will create education materials and tutorials to introduce a novel concept of consensus games to builders in the Optimism and wider Web3 community. And much more about that, about providing a joyful community space where builders can meet friends and learn from each other, and so forth. And then this also goes on talking about how once the tools and welcome materials are ready, we'll host the first season of Optimism Fractal, where builders come together for weekly events, and how we're planning to record videos, and also a little bit more about just how it works, as well as ideas about like agendas games and so forth. So, and then also this last sentence is saying that proposal is only for the first season, but we aim to grow it for perpetuity for the future of Optimism Fractal, and we think that this can sprout many more fractals and much more collaboration in the future. If you want to scroll down, there's lots more links about why what we're going to do is going to be, why we're going to build is going to succeed. This is also kind of in progress too. There's a few things that I didn't have the chance to write it super well because we had a limited timeline. So I'm kind of editing it and fixing it along the way too. So not everything's written perfectly and can be improved over time. But there's questions about why it's novel and is it likely to bring builders to the Optimism ecosystem. The main objective of this grant system was about bringing builders to the Optimism ecosystem. So we talked about that, and also how it's will improve the quality of developers and improve the commitment of developers in the Optimism ecosystem. So to Noam's point, it is very much focused on helping Optimism, and I think that's what they most want to see. And we can also communicate how Eden Fractal and so forth can help Optimism as well. And yeah, basically there's more details, lots of questions about competitors and differentiation and composability of the software, and about the team members who are who help make this proposal, and why we can succeed in making this proposal. And I also mentioned the Eden Fractal and many community members. I said in addition to the 4 team members who submitted the proposal, there's many more talented community members who I think are very interested or will be very interested in helping. And I gave some shout outs to all the different fractals and people who are helping, as well as more links. So it's quite detailed with the roadmap. Oh, and this is one part that I want to show too. This might be helpful to help people understand the scope of this. It provides a roadmap of the phases of it, of the proposal. And then there's also milestones where we aim to create both benchmark milestones about what we're aiming to do, and to Noam's point about bringing more people or attracting more people. Some of the milestones like we have, and these are kind of aspirational milestones. I think we could potentially overachieve them if this really grows a lot, which I think it will in a fitting environment like Optimism can provide. But the proposal or the it has like milestones about the amount of people who will participate in the meetings, and we have a milestone that by 1 year from now there'll be at least 50 builders average attendance in each meeting. By 6 months from now there'll be at least 20 builders, and so forth. So we kind of have some milestones for how many people will join and so forth that we're aiming to achieve. And then we also have some critical milestones that we need to achieve in order to earn the funding in the grant, regarding the deployment of the first smart contracts on October, in just about a month, and then deployment of the front end in November, and then updating Fractogram also in November to work with it as well, and then hosting the 8 events in relation to the welcome guide.